be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together. Good morning. I am Jason Sisneros. Today we're going to be talking about the exit dream team. The exit dream team. How to vanish and sell for maximum dollars. Right? This is kind of a big deal. When you think about this, it's really about building your C-suite. First off, I'm Jason Sisneros. Welcome to the show. This is the Built to Exit podcast with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros, where we talk about all things exiting your business. The first premise that we come to with you and the most wise conclusion that I could come to throughout my career, my storied and colorful career in owning businesses, selling businesses, consulting, now buying businesses, partnering with businesses, all the stuff that we do, speaking on stages, doing podcasts. One of the wisest conclusions that I could come to as a business owner was that everybody exits. So how matters? Okay. Now you come to that conclusion, you say, okay, cool. Then I need to really be whatever I've been doing with my business, whatever I have had in my head with my company, my small, mid-size, whatever business you have. Then if you target what the end game is, we talk a lot about end game here. The end game is when you get to live your life by choice and not by have to, not by having to show up to your work, not having to show up to your business, not having to take those meetings, not having to do business with people that otherwise you would probably punch in the face. those kinds of things. It gets you to a place of choice, of get to instead of have to. And so that conclusion is that I need to build my business to exit because everybody exits. Those two things start to calculate together and start to play off of each other, which is, everybody exits. I'm part of everybody, which means I'm going to exit. So I should build my business to exit. And building to exit means that I should build it for the buyer of my business. We had a lot of conversations this week, which was very, very interesting about people. People are getting on the bandwagon. They maybe want to sell in 6 months. Maybe they want to sell in a year. Maybe they want to sell up. I'm not ready to sell. I can't even really see myself selling, but 5 years from now, of course, I'll probably be ready to do so. And in having these conversations, it's like looking at, what is it about my life? I've been playing it by somebody else's rules. I've been playing it out of desperation. I've been playing it out of, this sense of I just have to show up and do my best every single day. And eventually someday it's going to be okay. But when you connect those two dots of everybody exits, I am everybody. And so I need to build my business to exit to what? Right? These kind of conversations. But in the midst of all of that, we come across some amazing businesses that don't realize how amazing of a business they are, that they need to be polished up a little bit for sale. But if you're running a company, if you are running a business, if you've built a solid tool, a solid asset, it's not that far away from you being able to actually be prepared to exit. Now, that doesn't mean you have to sell. It just means that you're prepared to, okay? And one of the biggest issues that we come across is this C-suite and the idea behind not being needed. Like this is we talk about really 4 areas that the buyers, professional buyers of business look at. And one of them is your management team. And one of the things that we talk about consistently is that if you as the business owner are needed in your business, look, it's okay. Somebody might still buy your business. Somebody probably would still buy your business. But what they're going to do is require you to stay in it. And they're going to require you to stay in it longer than you want. And they're probably going to have you carrying the debt for them to purchase your own business. all of these instances can be okay. It just depends on what is it that you actually are wanting out of your own business. And what do you want for your end game? What do you want your exit to look like? All we talk about here is don't get forced into a position. Don't be forced. Like, the three types of exits. One is an involuntary exit, which I had 3 of in the early part of my career. I had 3 businesses go out of business. That was involuntary. I didn't want them to go away, but because I didn't have the foundation built, right? The foundation of a well-run business, I didn't have that built. That's step number 1. If you don't have that foundation built, you can never escalate or elevate into a conversation with somebody who wants to buy your business because you don't have the basics down. And one of the things that we're talking about here is the basics of having a team that can run your business without you, where you can assign, hire. We're going to talk a little bit about how to do that, how to think through that today. But it's one of those things that is a must. If you truly want to be in control of the 3 items, the price, the timing, and the terms of your exit, this is an area that number 1 that must must be addressed. Okay. And so as you look at your business and you look at it into the future, this is an extreme area, right? One of those places that you have to focus in on. How do I build a team and start to disappear from the operations of my business? I pulled up a couple of stories to talk about this week, but I want you to think about your own business, right? What kind of a management team do you have in place right now? Who are the people that you have around you? Psychological, there's an emotional, most businesses, again, like if we got into it, and we say, okay, why do only 7% of businesses ever sell? Why, when they do sell, do close to 50% of them fall apart post-close? Like that should be like I sold my business and they blow apart post-close. How does that happen? Well, again, you get forced into a place with your business and the sale of your business that it's being dictated. That's the second kind of exit. We have involuntary, like I crashed my 3 businesses, didn't want them to go away, but they did. Second one is dictated, which means, I'm going to have a sale, but it's not under my terms. It's not under my pricing. It's not under my timing. It's under somebody else's because I allowed them to have leverage because of 2 major things cause a dictated exit. One is ignorance and the other one is arrogance. And both of those are very expensive. Ignorance meaning you just didn't learn what it took to craft your business into something that somebody would buy at the highest multiple possible. That's ignorance. That can be fixed. Arrogance is that you start to smoke your own supply. You start to believe your own bullshit sort of scenario when you think of your business, because you're surrounded by people that are convinced that you have the answer to everything. That's the core of being a business owner. Everybody around you looks to you for the answer. You get a little bit addicted to that and that arrogance. And again, I'm not saying you're an asshole. I'm saying that arrogance sets in where we start to breathe our own scent. Like we start to smoke our own supply that says, oh, I know everything. And I've had so many people around me that just say yes all the time that I'm never really challenged. So ignorance and arrogance, very expensive, and can put you in a place where when you have no one to sell to, when you haven't built it to exit, the only option is to shut it down. And think about all of the years you've put in. Think about all your hopes, your dreams, all of the things that are going. If you ended up having to just shut down your business, or even worse, somebody come in and shut you down because it runs out of cash, things are changing. Things are changing. You're going to have to you're going to have to shift. You're going to have to modify, as they always are. The one constant in life we know is change, and things are changing. You've got AI. That's the next thing that you're going to have to figure out how to implement that into your business. How do you compete, right? When somebody has fully integrated AI versus people that don't. their profit margins are higher, which means they have more money to advertise and to do the things to go after your customers. So there's you have to modify, you have to change, you have to constantly be looking at those ideals. And the greatest way to do that is to have convinced yourself that you're building an asset for someone else to own someday, which means that you keep it at tip-top shape. You have clarity, you have transparency, you have all of the things that are necessary for someone to make it an easy choice for someone to go, yes, this is what I want to invest in. And we had a couple of discussions this week on this concept of putting yourself as the business owner, as the owner that owns your business right now, putting yourself in the shoes of someone that is going to buy your business. Instead of constantly looking at through our eyeballs, I want to get as much possible. I want to get as much. I want to get paid all of it up front. I want to blah, blah, blah. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody that's about to pay $5 million, $10 million, $30 million for your business. Put yourself in their shoes and say, what is it that I would like to see out of this business that I'm about to buy? Right? You'd want to know a few things, just like every professional buyer out there. One is management team. The owner should not be necessary in the equation. That's number one. Financial, okay? Financial pictures should be financial clarity in everything that you do, knowing where all of the bodies are buried, knowing where the debt is, how much money have you borrowed, how many sales are coming in, what the profit margins are, et cetera, all of the financial clarity picture. So you've got management team, you have financial clarity, and then you go into the relationship to the customer. Do you have subscription base? What do your projects look like? How many customers do you have? Is there concentration risk? All of the questions that you would ask yourself in that quadrant. And then the fourth piece, which is kind of the magic in the exit, and that is your exit plan itself. Knowing that you have a data room that is filled with scenarios and it's filled with all three of those quadrants, the information in it, the SOPs, the duplicative nature of your business, all of those things that's in that fourth quarter. And it's informed with a pro forma adjusted EBITDA, which says, hey, over the next 3 to 4 years, based on what we know about our market, because we're educated, we are not ignorant, we are not arrogant, we are humble, and we are educated. And here's what we see. If I keep this business, here's what's pretty much, what we can pretty much bank on is going to happen. Now, you guys come in, the new owners, if you have multiple businesses, if you have more money to invest in marketing, if you have more information or more money to put into advertising and hiring and all of the other things that you want to do with this business, you're going to have a better time. But struggling along like we do, here's our pro forma adjusted EBITDA. These are conversations that are radically, radically important, radically powerful for you to put yourself in that position. Are you a business owner running hard, burning out, and still not getting ahead? I'm Jason Sisneros, founder of Built to Exit. I've bought, built, fixed, exited over 24 companies of my own. I've helped hundreds of business owners do the same. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably didn't start your business to be trapped in it. And yet, here you are, overwhelmed, underpaid, drowning in noise from fake gurus and recycled advice. Been there. Built to Exit isn't just another course. It's not a magic bullet. It's a system, a proven blueprint built from real-world experience, not theory. We help owners control the 3 things that really matter in business: price, the timing, and the terms of your exit. Whether that means more cash in your pocket now, more freedom starting today, or a full-blown exit strategy that lets you walk away on your own terms, our team knows how to get you there. So if you're done guessing, done with the excuses, and ready to win, visit builttoexit.biz today to schedule your free 15-minute strategy call with a senior advisor. We'll show you exactly where the leaks are in your business and how to fix them, because everybody exits. How you exit is the only thing that really matters. Builttoexit.biz. We play to win. Do you? This conversation today, though, is around the idea of that C-suite. Okay. there's a story I have a boatload of stories that I like to pick from because whether it's bookmarks on different areas or just plain articles that I have stacked next to me. I love reading business stories and running my thought process, running my systems, my beliefs, the all of the stuff that I've ever built. I run it through these stories to see, all right, if they did well, what did they do well? Where does that work? Did they do something well that I haven't added into my systems and my process? Because remember, I'm just like you. My wife and I own businesses, right? We are buying, we are exiting, we are doing all of this stuff while we are also running Built to Exit. And so anytime we learn something new about a new industry, we happen to be in the world of high performance compute right now, which is what all the LLMs and AI and all that's the plumbing the hardware that it runs on so that it can operate. We happen to be in that business right now, happen to be in the business of in the medical side, right? And everything that we learn better informs B2X as we go. And by the way, B2X more powerfully informs every entity in the cannabis space that we happen to be invested in right now. B2X informs how we interact with all of these. So we are you all day, every single day. We're going through these processes. And so as we land here on this particular subject of getting a C-suite involved, there's a couple of stories. One of them is a story of a guy by the name of David Kalt, Kalt. And he was the founder of Reverb.com. It's a music gear kind of marketplace. And I remember reading this article about it, but Kalt founded it. He immediately built a world-class executive team, CEO. And I'm going to go through some of these things here in a minute so that you'll have a visual for yourself and something to refer back to. For those of you that are live, you'll be able to capture it. And those of you that are watching it on replay on YouTube or wherever you happen to find the replay, you'll be able to go through these. But Kalt founded it. He immediately built a world-class executive team, CEO, CFO, CMO, long before he ever thought of selling. Now, that's you. You may not have even thought about selling. It may be in the back, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm running the whole show. Everybody's answering to me. I don't know what's coming with AI. I don't know what's going on with the damn economy. I don't know what's happened with interest rates. You're like, the last thing I have time to think about is selling my business. Always think about selling your business. As a matter of fact, from day to day, from this voice, from this conversation between the two of us, you now think of, I'm building something to exit. Right? It starts to inform that. But he built it. He did it long before he ever thought of selling. And by the time Etsy came to buy Reverb for $245 million, David had already pulled himself into a chairman only role, right? If you followed me for any time at all, you know that I believe graduation of being a business owner is becoming a chairwoman, chairperson, chairman of your business. And so he elevated into that role minimally day to day. The business did not need him. Etsy paid full asking price because the business was thriving without him. Punchline, they didn't buy David Kalt. They bought a machine that David Kalt built. Brilliant line. Hey, I'm going to say it again. They didn't buy David Kalt. They bought a machine David Kalt built. We're involved in a very similar sale price on that, and one of the main components is having to take out the person who they think, again, you as the business owner, if you are going to be emotionally stunted to a place where you think that the world revolves around you and it can't operate without you, until you graduate into a better way of thinking that is actually a problem. It's not something to brag about. Like, oh, nobody else can do what I do. Well, you're going to be stuck doing it until you can't do it anymore. And then it goes away. It's not a business, and that's okay. Plenty of people were taking care of their family in that way. That's what I did. And a thought process and a belief that I had when I was also younger. But when I started to graduate to say, look, what I'm really doing, why I'm really working this hard is because somewhere in the back of my brain, I'm a rebel. I didn't want to work for somebody else. I knew that wasn't going to work. I didn't want to beg the government for handouts. I knew that wasn't going to work. And in the middle, here's this awesome opportunity called ethical capitalism that states if I can hone my skill sets to be valuable to a subset of Americans or the world, to say I'm going to fall in love with their outcome more than my own outcome and serve them better than anybody else could in the entire country, that I could control my own destiny. To do what? To do what? Eventually, it's to do what we want. It's to spend time with who we want, go the places, see the Parises of the world, see the different things, experience different things in your own life, not have to be stressing about where the next meal is going to come from, where the next payroll is going to come from. That's an elevation. Okay, it's an elevation. That elevation starts when you realize that if you are necessary in your business, you are going to always be necessary in your business. You don't have an asset, you have a job. And that is not a shameful thing. That is not me shaming you. It's just saying eventually you're going to come to that conclusion to say, I want to go do some other stuff. And if you are, if you are in that position, great, switch it. It's not going to hurt anything to switch that knowledge, that understanding over just a little bit to say, you know what? Whatever I'm doing right now, there's probably somebody that can do it better than me. So I need to find that person and train them. Okay. And then also, instead of being like, I don't think I can sell my business, I'm going to start building my business to exit, because there is a very specific pathway that you can go down. Okay. David Call, I'm going to say that last line again, and then I'm going to give you another example. But that last line was, they didn't buy $245 million sale. Etsy bought him Reverb for $245 million. And they didn't buy David Calt. They bought a machine that David Calt built. Now, pause, forget about everything Jason, forget about everything David Calt, forget about the whole entire world. Write down on something that you have, I am building a machine that someone else will buy. Great. If you got nothing from anything that I said today, that's an unbelievable takeaway. You're building a machine. You're building a machine. I want to say hi to everybody that's out there. I see you coming in. Jennifer, Paul, Cheryl, good to see you. Christopher, always great to see you. Okay, let me give you another one. This lady's kind of one of my favorites. She is one of my favorites. I did something wrong with my screen here, but that's okay. CJ, a historical story, obscure and epic. Okay, this is the Silent Empire of Madam C.J. Walker. So early 1900s, Madam C.J. Walker, one of the first American women, one of the first American woman self-made millionaires. On top of that, built her hair care empire. She realized early, this is right in the subject of what we're going to talk about. She realized early everything depended on her. If it all depended on her, it would all die with her. Remember, our understanding, everybody exits, how matters. So she realized that early. So she trained over 20,000 sales agents, empowered managers, created regional territories, all while stepping away from daily operations. By the time she passed, her business kept thriving without her in the room. The punchline there, before anybody talked about scaling, this is old school, okay? Old school. Back in the early 1900s, right? Madam Walker walked the exit walk. Really, really great information for us. Two different time frames. Business, and I say this constantly and consistently, okay? That we are merchants. We call ourselves business owners, like we're hustlers, we're like, blah, 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 blah. We're whatever it is, whatever the term is. We are the original, we are the spawn, the genealogy of merchants. We have that heart in our, again, merchants throughout time have wanted to map their own path. They've wanted to be in control of their own destiny. And if you're a business owner, the thing that you want to control the most, whether you have been able to verbalize this or not, is you want the price, the timing, and the terms of your own exit. You want to control that, which gives you back your control. So let's go through this. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Built to Exit, a world-class business consulting firm that's helped hundreds of clients and thousands of business owners fix, scale, and successfully master their companies. Let me ask you a question. Are you serious about changing the direction of your business, but you don't have the funds to bring in a high-level consulting team? Well, then keep watching. We created the Built to Exit system specifically for entrepreneurs like you. Whether you're a startup trying to avoid costly mistakes or a seasoned owner stuck in a plateau or a downturn, this do-it-yourself system is your answer. Now, this course isn't easy. It's not a gimmick. It's not sugar-coated motivational feel-good fest if you know me at all. It's a graduate level masterclass built from decades of business ownership, consulting, and real-world results. If you're willing to do the work and follow the blueprint we use with companies that pay us 5 and 6 figures, you will finally have a system that gives you time freedom, financial control, and a clear path to a successful exit. So if you're serious about building a business that works with or without you, go to www.b2xsystem.com right now, because everybody exits. The only question is how. The 5 most critical seats in your business. The CEO, okay, I'm going to run through these very, very quickly. The CEO is a visionary, right? They run the ship without you. This hire, I've lost count of how many CEOs I've actually hired for my own businesses. But I will tell you, there's some things that they're going to run the ship without you. They're going to execute the plan. They're going to drive culture, and they're going to keep the wheels turning. When you make this hire, when you bring this person on, this person should be very, very, very aligned. And I mean, I'm not talking aligned as in they come in and they bullshit you and they convince you that they are that they're just like you. I'm saying with their actions. You do due diligence like a mofo on this position. Make sure that you're talking to all of their references. Make sure you're looking at the results that they've gotten in their relationships. Do they have long-term? For me, long-term relationships mean a lot to me. Okay. If you've met my team, most of them, like I think the newest one is 10 years on my team. And so long-term relationships, I've got a lot of friends. Those of you that have been following me since the Bald Avenger show days, I've got long-term relationships mean something to me because it speaks to character. And so when I'm looking at somebody to run, we're looking right now for 2 businesses. We're looking for, general manager and CEO level folks for 2 of our businesses. And this is one of the first places that I go. I investigate their relationships and I investigate whether they have long-term, again, important to me. You've got to figure out what your own rules are, because this CEO is going to be the person who is going to represent you and your business to the world. And they're going to be the ultimate, kingmaker, whatever, in the negotiations for someone to be able to take your business on. That person, once you figure out that they are aligned with you, and in my case, it would be a substantial amount of long-term relationships, some vouching, I'll go into what is the performance level? Do they have experience in what we're doing? Do they show up early, stay late? Like these types of things. Once that has been satisfied, now we get into what do they want? We have a process in our Built to Exit systems called WIFM, right? What's in it for me? I've got to know very specifically for the person who's going to be taking over the helm of the ship that I'm giving over as the captain, right? I'm handing over the ship. I've got to know what it is that they want out of their life and their experience and what they're doing at the helm while they're running it. And from the exit that we are going to participate in sometime in the future, do those things align? Because if they don't, you're going to have some broken things. You're going to, you got to think these things through. There's a very specific process. Again, I'm not going to go into it here because it's like a 5 to 6 hour process of me teaching specifically how you choose this person, in one of our other courses. But suffice it to say, you don't need 6-7 hours for me to tell you they need to be aligned with you, and what the work that they're going to do past and into the acquisition of your business, all of that has to align with their life goals. And once that happens, you're in a really, really good position. Okay. So that's CEO. I'm going to run through these a little bit quicker. Okay. CFO. This is your financial wizard, somebody that protects the profit margins, forecast revenue, manages budgets, ensures financial health. Again, these people have to be aligned with you. There has to be a level of integrity. Now, what there doesn't have to be is somebody that has signed up to kiss your ass. Complete wrong alignment. Matter of fact, you don't really even need to like them. Okay. What you need to know is, can you trust them? Are they based in integrity? Do they align with how you view the world? And are they massively competent? Okay. All of this takes due diligence. Don't just hire somebody because they're at arm's length, especially right now. We are finding the people that we are looking for. We've got multiple companies right now that we're staffing up in, and we're finding the most incredible talent because the economy is taking a breather until it starts to fire back up. There's some incredible people out there. So take your time in choosing these people. The CFO has to have real financial knowledge. They have to be able to speak the language. We've said it multiple times. You need to be able to speak the language of business, and the business speaks in numbers. So that person has to be a good translator. Right? They got to be able to say, okay, this is our assumption of what's going to happen. It moved through the quadrant. Okay, then it happened. Okay, what were the results of that happened? Okay, it was better here, less here, but worse here. We shouldn't have done that at all. Bum, bum, bum. Reinterpret that, right, into what is next, and then have the activities be in that circle of performance, be adjusted consistently because they speak the level and language, and the CEO and them they're having great conversations. Okay. Language, clarity, making sure that your data center, your data box is being filled up with true, accurate, transparent financials in your business. All right. Sales leader. Okay. Your rainmaker, scalable. That has to be scalable, predictable revenue, builds the sales team and builds the sales systems. The two most important there, number one, are the predictable revenue machine and build scale sales systems. Everything else is important there, but this salesperson has to build sales systems. Most importantly, it has to be predictable. It cannot be this area. You tend to run into very, very gregarious human beings, people that can, sell ice to Eskimos is kind of the terms. But if they don't have systems, then again, if this is one of the main areas that I talked about, your revenue, your relationship to your customer, that this area right here has to be systematic. It cannot be based on a gregarious personality, somebody that they can have a gregarious personality, but if they do, they most likely are not going to be systems oriented. So you should have a number two with them that are building out those systems. Lots and lots of information on that as well. But just know that you have to have a sales leader. You have to have that rainmaker that is out there with predictable revenue. Now, this position has the potential of being a concentration risk. If you have just said, this person has been cranking out these dollars, anytime you're saying this person, what me as a buyer, like what you as a buyer, what somebody as a professional as a buyer is going to look at and go, okay, so all of the revenue is hinging on this person that sits in this role. Yikes. right? What happens if that person gets sick? What happens if that person gets offered more money to go somewhere else? What happens if that person, God forbid, gets hit by a bus? Like blah, 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 blah. That is an uncertainty in the acquisition model mindset. Okay. What else we got here? So COO. Oh, this is so crucial. The COO is really tasked with, and I don't know if we said it on here, but really tasked with keeping the promise of that marketing and sales makes. That's their job. Okay, we get optimizes operations, installs systems, dashboards, SOPs, smooth operations. They're an execution monster, yes. But if you had to remember one thing about your COO is that they keep the promise that your integrity that's hanging out there in the world, right? Your marketing, your sales, all of the stuff that's saying my process, my product or service, it does this thing, it does it all really, really well. This person has to be solely committed to making sure that there is no sunlight, no gap between what you're promising you can do and what you actually do. Very, 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 very important. I've got a guy by the name of Carlos Chavez. He's been with me for 20 years at this point, 21 years as my COO. None of the things that I've been able to accomplish would have ever been able to be accomplished without him. Without that mindset, without him, Jason going out there, making a promise, this business, that business, all these other stuff, and making those promises, and then Carlos figuring out how to make those promises true. Okay. And I cannot tell you the weight, the necessity of this type of person. We have several people on our team, Emily and I do, that are unbelievable execution monsters and extremely crucial to how we do business. Okay. Your exit advisor, obviously, B2X, we built the company to be exit advisors. This should also and could also be called sell side. With your business, you're on the sell side. We really view ourselves as sell side advocates. Very rare in the marketplace. Pretty much if you're trying to sell your business, you have of 100% of what you're going to make. You have people that are trying to get to about 60% of that with you walking away with about 40. We want that to be around 14 to 20% on the high side if you have people doing a lot of the work, but you make a lot more money when you have a strategic advisor advising you on the sell side, and that is aligned again with you. We have a group of unbelievable human beings that I have personally trained as B2X strategists that can walk along with you. If it's a big enough deal, we have our corporate side as well that can help. But at the end of the day, you need some sort of an exit advisor. Okay. We gratuitously hope you choose Built to Exit, but if not, just remember that they're going to design the blueprint. They're going to complete your sell box. If you don't know what a sell box is, I believe I did an episode on what a sell box is. Your buyer has a buy box. They're like, here's $500 million, and here's what it describes that we're going to buy. We're going to buy, hair salons, and we're going to do it across the United States and blah, blah, blah. So on your side, you want to have a sell box. It anticipates the buyer objections. We have a proprietary software dashboard that tracks specifically where you are in your building out your data center for the buyers of your business. Okay. It's something that I built and that we built along the way. Nobody else has it in the world, but it's built out of experience. I know as a buyer what I want to see. I know also as a seller how to build for specific private equity firms, for roll-up campaigns, for different things. I know how they want to buy, so we just set that up for you in the very beginning. And it engineers your business into an irresistible acquisition. And I would also add to that they will engineer you into the highest price for your business. The best strategist, the best advisor in this area is going to have a lot of people fighting over your business and jacking that price up beyond even your asking price. That's what a good advisor does. Okay. So here's a couple of statements I want you to take away with you as we wrap it up. Buyers aren't buying your hustle. They're buying a machine that prints cash without you. Okay. Again, I asked you earlier in the show, put yourself in the position of somebody that would be buying your business. Buyers aren't buying your hustle. They're buying a machine that prints cash. When we talked about earlier, we talked about David Colt. What was the line? They didn't buy David Colt. They bought a machine that David Colt built. Okay. Your value isn't how hard you work. It's how invisible that you can become while your company grows. Your value isn't how hard you work. It's how invisible you can become while your company grows. Extremely powerful. Okay. And if your company collapses without you, it's not an asset. It's an accident waiting to happen. Some of the things I say, I hope you understand how much I love you, how much I love this thing that we do called small and mid-sized businesses. I hope you know that I put my heart into this. Built to Exit is a business of passion for me. This is me helping my family, and I genuinely think of, I don't care what color, the sexual preference, Republican, Democrat. It literally means none of that stuff makes any difference to me, because if you are a part of the merchant family, the merchant history, if you are built like I am, and you have that inside of you that you're like, I can't not, like, as David Anderson said, right? He said, if you can't not be an entrepreneur, that's like, we're family, regardless of every other scenario that's out there. And I do this because, again, all of my businesses that I've sold, that that I did in the past, that we're doing now, and I just want you to be best armed. I want to make sure that you have somebody genuinely who could give a shit if you ever buy anything from me. I could care less. If you ever bought anything from Built to Exit, I would love for you to. It's an acceleration for you. I would love that. We built it as a business for a reason. I believe in it for a reason. But ultimately, doesn't mean anything to, me living my lifestyle in any other way. Like, if nobody ever bought anything, we're good. And that's really who I would have preferred to buy my information from. I've been in your boat. I've been having to make the decisions. I go to places. I'm like, oh my God, I just got screwed out of $10,000. Now it was my choice, right? I just got screwed out of $50,000 over here. And I paid this advisor over here, and I paid that consultant over here. And I paid all of these funnel builders, and I did all of this shit, and I got nothing out of it except for a headache and pissed off employees, less well taken care of customers. I've been in that boat. All B2X is that shipping. There's people that do really well at consulting, but there's the shining, this for my entire team. It's to be a place where if you have a business and you want to exit and you want to do better, you want to understand the systems, the process, how to build, that we're there. We're here. We're available to you if you need us. And that's it. Okay. So if your company collapses without you, it's not an asset. It's an accident waiting to happen. So I'll tell you this. Okay. I'll tell you this. Audit your team today, even if that team is just you. What hats do you wear in your business? Even as a single owner of that business, you're looking at it through the lens of the job descriptions that I put up there. Take off your CEO hat, and then you put on your CFO hat. That's your team. You need to evaluate your team. You need to start writing out job descriptions. You need to start writing out, what are the 4 things critical to that role? How do I measure the success? Because that arc, whether it's 6 months from now, 6 years from now, 30 years from now, that arc is going to end up with somebody, you either closing your doors, somebody bullying you through a sale, or 3, the custom tailored exit that you absolutely chose to create. Those are the options, because somebody else is going to be an owner of your business. You're going to either go out of business and close it. You're going to somebody else that's going to push you and bully you through, pay you less, make it painful, do a bunch of due diligence, drive your price down, or you're going to have that custom tailored exit. That's what we're here for. And that's what we hope you do, right? Even if you just watch all of these videos and you start to craft that for yourself, we will massively think of that as a success, because we know not everybody can do this. We know not everybody will, because they're busy chasing the easy pill. They're busy, in mommy and daddy issues, as I was. I chased the easy pill. I did all of those things. This is for people who decide to be a professional and want to execute with a proven plan over time. And that is not easy. Matter of fact, there's parts of it that are boring. And it's hard work. So everybody exits. How you exit, that's the game, baby. That's the game. So that's it. Thank you very, very much for being with me on this beautiful Saturday. My wife and I are headed to the Kentucky Derby next week. So the show is going to be from Louisville. We're going to be doing the show from Louisville. I might, because of the timing of the show, and I think when the entire thing starts, I might be in my very first seersucker suit that I've ever owned in my entire life. Might just wear that for the show next Saturday. And then we're going from there to Las Vegas to San Diego to Salt Lake City possibly to Phoenix. So that is basically takes us up to about the beginning of June. If you're in any of those cities, would love to see you. Make sure you're following us on the socials, and we'll let you know what time, what days we're going to be in all these different cities, but we will be seeing you very soon. I'm Jason Sisneros on behalf of all of the staff and team members and the strategists that we have at Built to Exit. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your time. And we hope to see you again next Saturday, 9 a.m. with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros, for the Built to Exit podcast, where we are looking to help you do and understand one thing. Everybody exits. How matters. God bless. Peace.